We are now on the record. My name is James Arndt. I'm a videographer for Galco Litigation Services. Today's date is January 17th, 2019, and the time is 9:06 a.m. This video deposition is being held in St. Louis, Missouri in the matter of the National Prescription Opiate litigation for the United States District Court for the Northern District of Ohio, Eastern Division. The deponent is Kevin Webb. Will counsel please identify themselves?
Dean Kawamoto, Keller Rohrbach for the plaintiffs.
Chanel Reyes, Keller Rohrbach for the plaintiffs.
Gary Gatto, Keller Rohrbach for the plaintiffs.
Seamus Kelly, Brandstetter, Strange and Jennings for the Tennessee plaintiffs.
Jim Strange from the same firm, same clients. Louis Gobble from Jones Day representing Walmart.
Sarah Harmon with Armstrong Teasdale representing Cardinal Hall.
Joshua Goldstein with Ropes and Gray on behalf of the witness, Mallinckrodt LLC and Spec GX LLC.
Brian O'Connor, Ropes and Gray, on behalf of the witness Kevin Webb, Mallinckrodt LLC and Spec GX LLC.
Will attorneys present by phone please identify themselves?
Ryan Roberts from Covington and Berlin on behalf of McEffen.
Jim Johnson on behalf of ABDC from Jackson Kelly.
The court reporter is Carrie Campbell, and she will now swear in the witness.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Webb. Thank you for being here today. As you're aware, you're going to be testifying in two different capacities. Today, you're going to be testifying on behalf of Mallinckrodt as a 30B6 witness, and then tomorrow you'll be testifying in your individual capacity. Is this consistent with your understanding, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever testified as a 30B6 designee before?
No.
And you understand that today you're going to be testifying on behalf of the company, correct?
Correct.
Now, is it also your understanding that as Mallinckrodt's 30B6 designee for certain topics, you had an obligation to educate yourself as to each topic?
Yes.
Okay. And did you in fact do so?
Yes.
So I'd like to mark this as Exhibit 1. So Mr. Webb, I'm handing you Exhibit 1, which is a color-coded copy of the amended notice of deposition. You'll see that it's got different colors for different topics. The topics that I understand you'll be testifying on or you're prepared to testify on today are in green.
Okay.
And so what I'd like you to do, and you know, we've negotiated some of these topics with your counsel, so there have been some modifications in terms of, you know, what you're testifying to as opposed to what others are. But what I'd like to do is, once you get the notice, I'd like to go through the exhibit with you. Okay.
Thank you.
So turning to topic 2, sir, and I think that's on page 5.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you read the green portion of that topic?
Do you want me to read it out loud or just read?
Read it out loud, please.
Read it loud. Okay. Topic 2, the role of wholesalers, distributors, and pharmacies, including but not limited to defendants, in the supply chain of your opioid products and the responsibilities of each with respect to marketing, sales, supply.
And are you prepared to testify on that topic today?
Yes.
And what did you do to prepare for, or what did you do to prepare to testify on that topic?
I met with my counsel.
Did you review any documents in connection with that topic, sir?
I don't recall if I reviewed any documents pertaining to this topic.
Okay. Did you review documents in preparation for this 30B6 deposition?
Yes.
And were those documents provided by counsel?
Yes.
Did you review any documents that were not provided by counsel?
No.
How many times did you meet with your counsel regarding either today's deposition or tomorrow's deposition?
3.
Okay. And do you recall roughly when they were?
Yesterday. And there were, let's see, 2 times. There's one time in December, and then losing track of my day. I don't think I met in January, so it was either mid to late December or early January. I think we're still locking in on the date.
And going to the December meeting, do you recall how long the meeting lasted for?
It was a full day. It was 8 hours.
And do you recall which of your council were present?
Well, Brian was part of the meeting in and out. We had Andrew. I don't know Andrew's last name, and then William. And I don't know if Cassie's an attorney or not.
She is.
She isn't, Cassie.
And did you meet with, was anyone else present other than your 4 lawyers?
When I was meeting with them in their offices or yesterday, no.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. In terms of the December meeting, was anyone else present other than the 4 lawyers you've identified?
No.
Okay. Turning to the meeting that you believe occurred in early January, how long did that last for?
That would have been an 8-hour as well.
And who was present for that meeting?
The same individuals. They weren't present the entire time, but in and out.
Understood. And then for the meeting yesterday, roughly how long did that last for?
That wasn't a full day as well. It was from 9 until 5.
And who was present for that?
The same, Josh was present as well, to my right, and Brian and Cassie.
Have you talked to anyone else other than your lawyers in terms of preparing for these depositions?
For item number 2 or for the deposition in general?
Well, actually, that's a good point. Why don't we go through the topics and then I'll ask that question. But for topic number 2, you haven't spoken to anyone other than your counsel?
Correct.
Okay. Can you read the green portions of topic 3?
Topic 3, warning letter sent to you by the FDA and any other communications between you and the FDA regarding your marketing or your opioid products, your responses to these letters, all subsequent actions you took in response to those communications, and all budgets for such actions by year.
Okay. What did you do to prepare to testify on this topic?
I reviewed this particular issue with counsel.
And did you speak to anyone else other than your counsel regarding this topic?
No.
Do you recall reviewing any documents relating to this topic?
There was not a document I recall of other than the topic being discussed. And if there was a document, I don't recall seeing a particular document.
Okay. Can you read topic number 4, the green portions of it?
Number 4, your interactions with the DEA or FDA regarding the scheduling of controlled substances or the distribution of controlled substances, including compliance, regulatory, and administrative actions, communications, and penalties.
And I guess I should modify that. You're not going to speak as to the DEA, I believe. So with respect to that topic and the FDA, are you prepared to testify on that topic?
Yes.
And what did you do to prepare for that topic?
Met with counsel.
Do you recall reviewing any documents?
No.
Did you speak with anyone else other than counsel regarding this topic?
No.
Can you please read topic number 8?
Number 8, all actions you took, if any, after the CDC declared an opioid epidemic in 2011 and introduced guidelines to help reduce opioid prescribing, to reduce the amount of opioids prescribed, reduce supply of opioids to the market, are re-educate prescribing physicians and the public about the opioid epidemic declared by the CDC or the dangers of opioids, and all the budgets for such efforts by year from 2011 to the present.
And are you prepared to testify on that topic?
Yes.
What did you do to prepare for that topic?
Met with counsel.
Did you speak to anyone else?
No.
Did you review any documents?
I do not recall any documents that we reviewed for this particular topic.
Do you have personal knowledge of this topic?
In my professional capacity?
Well, I would assume it's from your professional capacity.
Yes, I'm aware of the. Yes, I'm aware of the CDC declaring an opioid epidemic.
And you're aware of what steps Mallinckrodt took, if any, in response to that?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, going back to topic 4, the interactions with the FDA, you could quickly glance at that.
Okay.
Do you have personal knowledge of that topic, sir?
Let's see. I'm aware of, I've not personally dealt with this, but I'm aware of what the company was doing. Or I'm aware of our company's position, I should say, on this.
And you are aware based on your personal professional involvement, or are you aware based on your conversations with counsel?
Well, I'm aware of the, yes, I'm aware of the company's position on it.
And you have that
through counsel.
I'm sorry, just to clarify the record, your knowledge regarding this topic, is that based on your professional involvement with this topic, or is that based on knowledge that you've obtained from counsel?
I was not there was, we'll get into that as far as what the involvement was, because there was no involvement. But I'm aware of what the company's position was, and then through counsel, what Mallinckrodt had done, our position on this.
And your awareness of that position comes from counsel?
Correct.
Okay. So same question with topic 3. Do you have personal knowledge of that topic?
I have that awareness of that particular issue came through counsel.
Okay. And topic number 2?
I am aware of, I have personal, professional awareness of it, as well as engagement through counsel.
Okay. I believe we can now skip to topic 23, sir. And so that's going to be on page 9.
Okay.
Can you please read that?
23. The surveys, focus groups, market research, or other similar research or investigation that you had performed on your behalf, or that you received or reviewed regarding physician or public perceptions of the safety, efficacy, and/or addictive nature of your opioid products, other opioid products, or opioids, and your use of focus groups, research, or investigations in developing a sales and marketing strategy and/or a strategy on how to affect, change, or influence those perceptions.
And are you prepared to testify on that topic, sir?
Yes.
Did you review any documents in connection with that topic?
We reviewed dockets, but I don't know specifically if what they were pertaining to.
Did you have any conversations other than with your counsel regarding that topic?
I did.
And who were those conversations with?
For this particular aspect, I had a phone call with who was then at the time our head of our market research, Ms. Tammy Fraley.
And what do you recall about that conversation?
We discussed the mechanics and the processes of market research.
Did she provide you with any documents to review?
No.
Did she identify any documents for you?
No.
Okay. Do you have any personal knowledge of this topic?
Yes.
And is that from your professional responsibilities at Mallinckrodt?
Yes.
And could you please read topic 24?
24. All direct or indirect donations or payments concerning opioids or opioids products to A, lobbyist, B, persons or entities named in the complaint, or C, persons you disseminated information about prescription opioids to prescribers or the public on your behalf, and the identity of all persons responsible for such donations or payments.
And do you have personal knowledge of that topic?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do to prepare for that topic?
Met with counsel.
Do you recall reviewing any documents in connection with this topic?
Yes, we did review documents pertaining to this.
And are those documents the basis of your testimony?
They would be an element of it.
Do you recall the general nature of the documents you reviewed?
I remember one document in particular. It was, yes,
Okay, and what was that document?
it was a financial.
Objection. I'm going to
Sorry.
instruct him not to answer if it's a document provided by counsel, work product privilege.
Okay. Okay. Can you describe the nature of the document? Was it an email? Was it a PowerPoint? Was it a spreadsheet?
Same objection. I'm going to direct him not to answer.
Other than that one document, do you recall reviewing any other documents?
No.
See, can you, well, why don't we try to truncate this? For topic 25, can you read that to yourself?
To myself or read it out loud?
Just read it to yourself.
Okay, thank
Let
you.
me know when you're done.
Okay, thank you.
Are you prepared to testify on topic 25?
Yes.
And what did you do to prepare to testify on that topic?
Met with counsel.
Do you have any personal knowledge of topic 25?
Yes.
And what is that personal knowledge? Well, strike that. Let me rephrase it. I take it your personal knowledge is from your professional responsibilities at Mallinckrodt?
Correct.
Can you read topic 26 yourself? Well, I'm sorry. Actually, let me... Do you recall reviewing any documents in connection with topic 25?
No.
Can you review... did you speak to anyone other than counsel about topic 25?
Yes.
Who did you speak to?
I spoke through conference call with my colleague, Derek Naton, in our government affairs team.
And when you say your government affairs team, who is on that team?
That would be myself. That would be Derek and his manager or boss, Mark Tyndall.
And what do you recall about that conversation?
You can go ahead.
It was the nature of understanding what lobbying efforts may have taken place prior to me joining the department.
And when did you join the department?
2013.
And how far back did those conversations go in terms of, well, strike that. Do you recall the time frame that you discussed in terms of the lobbying efforts with Mr. Naden and Mr. Tyndall?
Yes.
What was that time frame?
Roughly beginning 2011-12 timeframe.
Did you do anything to prepare to testify regarding this topic for the time period prior to 2011?
Other than meeting with counsel, no.
And if I could go back to topic 24, other than counsel, did you have any conversations with anyone regarding this topic?
Not for 24. The only question we had with lobbying was on topic 25.
And you indicated that, I guess you had a question regarding lobbying. What was that question?
I was asking Derek if he knew of...
Objection.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I was asking Derek if he knew of any lobbying effort that Mallinckrodt may have engaged in prior to me joining the department in 2013.
Can you review topic 26?
Review or read?
Read. To yourself.
To myself, all right, thank you. Okay.
Are you prepared to testify on topic 26?
Yes.
What did you do to prepare for that topic?
Met with counsel.
Do you have any personal knowledge of that topic?
Yes.
Other than counsel, did you have any conversations regarding this topic?
No.
Do you recall reviewing any documents in connection with this topic?
You
We reviewed documents, but I can't recall the nature of those documents.
Did you review more than one document?
Yes, at the time, but I do not know which documents those were or how many documents they were.
Can you read topic 30 to yourself?
Okay.
Are you prepared to testify on this topic?
Yes.
What did you do to prepare to testify?
Met with counsel.
Do you have any personal knowledge of this topic?
Yes.
Other than counsel, did you have conversations with anyone else relating to this topic?
No.
Do you recall reviewing any documents relating to this topic?
No.
Can you read topic 32 to yourself?
Okay.
What did you do to prepare for this topic?
Met with counsel.
Do you have any personal knowledge of this topic?
Yes.
Other than counsel, did you speak with anyone else
No.
regarding this topic?
No.
Do you recall reviewing any documents related to this topic?
No.
Can you review topic, or can you read topic 33 to yourself?
Okay.
Are you prepared to testify on this topic?
Yes.
What did you do to prepare?
Reviewed. Met with counsel.
And when you say reviewed, what do you mean by that?
Met with counsel.
Other than counsel, did you talk to anyone else about this topic?
No.
Do you recall reviewing any documents related to this topic?
Do you recall any?
Yes.
Okay. Can you generally describe those
I
documents?
object and instruct not to answer to the extent that the documents were provided by counsel on work product privilege.
Were there any documents that you recall reviewing that were not provided by counsel?
No.
Do you recall how many documents you reviewed?
Can answer that.
1.
Can you review topic 34?
Okay.
Are you prepared to testify on this topic?
Yes.
What did you do to prepare for this topic?
Met with counsel.
Do you have any personal knowledge of this topic?
Yes.
Do you recall reviewing any documents in connection with this topic?
Can answer that.
Yes.
Do you recall how many documents?
All right, I'm going to instruct not to answer to the extent that the documents were provided by counsel.
And is your objection as to the question of how many? Does it
I'll
cover
let
that?
him
or-
answer how many, and then I'll listen for the next question. You can go
Okay.
ahead. Do you recall how many documents?
1.
And for the sake of the record, can you generally describe that document?
Objection. Objection. I instruct not to answer on work product.
And can you read topic 36 yourself?
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, going back to topic 34 very quickly. Did you have any conversations with anyone else other than your counsel regarding this topic?
No.
Then for topic 36, what did you do to prepare for this topic?
Met with counsel.
Do you have any personal knowledge of this topic?
Yes.
Do you have any conversations with anyone other than counsel regarding this topic?
No.
Do you recall reviewing any documents relating to this topic?
No.
Okay, thank you. You can put that exhibit aside.
Thank you.
So do we have the first set of notes? Okay. So I'd like to start with topics number 26 and topic number 30. And if
Can
you
I
need
keep that
to,
in front of me as a...
yeah, if you need to
Okay.
review to exhibit 1, please feel free to do so.
And I'm sorry, topic 26?
Topic 26 and topic number 30.
Marketing and trade groups. Okay.
Okay. Now, when Mallinckrodt developed marketing and advertising materials, this was done on a national basis, was it not?
Objection. Can answer.
Yes.
So Mallinckrodt would not have developed special ads for a specific state. For example, they would not have developed Ohio-specific advertising, would they have?
Objection to the phone. You can answer.
Correct. We would not.
Okay. And how did Mallinckrodt make decisions regarding how to distribute the advertisements and the marketing materials that it developed?
Objection.
We would, the material would have been distributed through our sales force.
And how would the sales force go about distributing that material?
Objection.
They would be provided to them by the company.
Would you use print advertising?
Would you ask the question again? I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Let me rephrase that. Did you ever run advertisements in newspapers?
Can you define newspapers?
Any print medium that gets distributed to the general public or a segment of the general public?
General public, no.
What about any materials that were distributed to potential patients?
Objection.
No.
Did you ever run any ads in magazines?
Can you define magazines, though? Which type of magazines?
Well, let's start with magazines that the general public would read.
I'm not aware of any ads. Generally, we would not run what we consider direct-to-consumer advertising, no.
Okay. Would you run advertisements in medical journals?
Yes.
So with respect to, and I want to cabin this to Mallinckrodt's opioid products, both branded and generic, with respect to direct-to-consumer advertising, did Mallinckrodt engage in any direct-to-consumer advertising for its opioid products?
No.
And your basis for that response is, well, strike that. What is your basis for saying that Mallinckrodt did not do any direct-to-consumer advertising? Is that your personal knowledge?
That is both my personal and my understanding of our marketing campaigns.
Did Mallinckrodt market to healthcare professionals?
Yes.
And how did it do so?
Good. We would provide, as we mentioned, journal ads. We would provide our sales force approved sales aids. And we would participate in trade shows for healthcare providers.
So I have journal ads, I have materials distributed by your sales force, and I have trade shows. Are there any other categories?
We would do education seminars with our physicians.
And when you say with your physicians, what do you mean by that?
With physicians to the medical community.
And when you say education seminars, are you referring to CE, continuing education?
No, we would, well, through marketing, I just want to clarify though, marketing would not participate in CE programs, continuing education programs. I cannot speak to what medical affairs was doing.
But marketing would participate in the education seminars that you just mentioned.
On-label education programs, yes.
And all four of these channels would have been deployed pursuant to a national strategy or a national campaign. Is that fair?
Correct.
And so these national strategies or national campaigns would have included Ohio, would it not?
Yes.
So do we have 2 and 5? Okay, so I'd like to mark this as Exhibit 2. So, Mr. Webb, I've handed you an email that also had an attachment to it. The attachment is stapled to the back of the email. The email is Bates number 2159712, and the attachment is 2159713. Could you please review that for me?
Okay.
Now, the attachment is a pain management pocket card set. Are you familiar with the pain management pocket card set?
I am not.
Do you know I'll strike that. What is the purpose of this pocket card set?
Objection.
I would have to I've never seen this piece before in my life, so I would have to review it.
Okay, well, let me ask this. Why was this pocket card set created?
Objection.
I don't know. I mean, I have not seen this piece. I don't know to what purpose it serves.
Now, the email indicates that the pocket cards were for the national account managers. Do you see that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And the email indicates that they were to be handed out at trade shows and distributed to customers. Do you know what the reference to customers means?
Objection.
My understanding of the national account managers, the names, their customers are the wholesalers and distributors.
Okay. And I guess they're to be handed out at trade shows. So if a trade show were to occur in Ohio, presumably this material would have been handed out there?
Objection.
Mallinckrodt would have made the same material available to the trade shows, regardless of where it was held.
Okay. And do you know if this pain management pocket card set was actually distributed?
I would not know that.
Okay. Do you have any basis to believe that it was not distributed at trade shows?
I do not.
Okay. And you would consider this pain management pocket card set to be marketing material, would you not?
Objection.
I would, without having to review the piece, I wouldn't know if this falls under patient education or marketing material.
But it was designed to be distributed outside of Mallinckrodt to inform people regarding opioid products. Is that fair?
Objection.
I can't speculate what it was informing them of opioid products.
Well, the national account managers were involved with the sale of both The national account managers were involved with the sale of both branded and generic opioid products, were they not?
This group, this was for our generics team, and that was generic opioids only.
Okay. So these these materials presumably relate to generic opioids then, based on this email.
I would have
Objection.
I would have to review the piece to specify whether it was brands or generics.
Okay. Well, could you review the first page then?
Okay.
So does this material relate to branded or generic products?
Well, since it would relate to opioids in general, a general class of opioids.
Okay. So that would include both branded and generic products from Mallinckrodt, that class of opioids.
Objection.
Well, since there's no branding on it, and it was not used by a brand national account manager, my personal opinion is it pertains only to a generic opioids.
Okay. And who was the target audience for this information?
You would have to ask the person who put this together. I don't know.
Was one of the purposes of this material to educate doctors?
Objection.
The national account managers did not call on physicians. They only called on their customers were wholesalers and distributors.
But wholesalers and distributors could have provided this information to their customers, which would have included doctors and pharmacists?
Objection.
I do not know how the wholesalers or distributors would use this piece.
But presumably wholesalers and distributors would use this information to encourage sales of their products, would they not?
Objection.
The sales of their products?
Well, the sales of Mallinckrodt's products that they were in charge of distributing.
Objection.
My understanding of the national account or the wholesalers is that they did not specifically identify any one particular manufacturer's products. They had a basket of products that they would make available to their customers, but to my knowledge, they were not in a position advocating one product over another.
Well, so why is Mallinckrodt providing this information to wholesalers and distributors?
Objection.
You would have to ask the person who put this together.
Who reviewed the information in these cards?
Well, this would have been reviewed and approved by our what we call our medical legal review board.
And so what steps, if any, were taken to ensure that this information was accurate?
Well, each representative of that review board or review committee, who is comprised of a physician, an attorney, and someone from our regulatory compliance team, would review it for medical accuracy, legal accuracy, and general FDA compliance.
And Mallinckrodt would agree that it's very important that the information in this pocket card set be accurate, would it not?
Objection.
Accurate to, yes, would be accurate.
Okay.
Can I put that away?
I'd like to mark this as Exhibit 3. These are some copies.
Thank you.
So I've handed you an email and 2 attachments to that email. The email is Bates number 218-3036, and the attachments are 218-3038 and 218-30340.
Council, pardon for interrupting. Phil Giordano, Army reporter at Hard Endo Companies. Could you read the full Bates number into the record just so we're able to follow along the phone? Because we can't see the exhibit.
Sure. By full Bates number, I take it you mean MNK T1 218-3036?
That's exactly right. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the email is MNK T1 218-3036. The attachment is, the first attachment is MNK T1 218-30338. And then the next attachment is MNK T1 218-3040. So this is an email chain involving Luann Randall and John Decker. Who is John Decker?
John Decker was from our medical affairs team. I have to look at exactly what his title was, but John was responsible for physician not education material, but just trade journals and it was publication planning. That's the correct title.
And when you say trade journals and publication planning, what do you mean by that?
Looking at what clinical articles are in the journals, the professional journals. Understanding, as Mallinckrodt was producing clinical studies, how they would be published and how they would be put into the, made available to physicians.
And the attachment to this email, the email references these as two pieces that we've done on pain. And one is entitled The Oxford American Pocket Cards on Breakthrough Pain, and the other is the Pain Management Pocket Card Set that looks very similar to what we viewed in Exhibit 2. Do you know how these materials would have been distributed?
Objection.
Well, since they're, I mean, these are repurposing of pieces. It was our generics sales team. It was a piece for generics, so generics team did not call on physicians. So I can speculate that they'd be made available through the trade shows and through trade channels.
Object. Oh. I would object to any speculation.
So you have no reason to believe that these materials would not have been distributed into Ohio?
Correct.
Objection.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
And then on the back page with Bates number MNK T1 218-30337, I'm referring to the back page of the email. The very bottom email, there's a reference to the continuing education programs. Do you know what materials would have been created for the continuing education programs?
Objection.
I'm sorry, you're looking at the email, not the piece.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
The email at the very bottom says, Jessica, would you be involved in continuing education programs? So my question is, do you know what materials would have been prepared for the continuing education programs?
Objection.
Well, continuing education programs can vary. I mean, it was, there is no, it would, there's not a core set of just material that's available, standard set of material.
And the target audience of the continuing education program would have been physicians, would it not?
Not necessarily.
Who would have been the target audience for continuing education, for your continuing education programs?
It would have been any healthcare professional who is required to continue as part of their license to receive continuing education.
So not only doctors, but nurses, pharmacists, others as well?
Correct.
And you indicated that this material was being repurposed, correct?
Correct.
Okay. By repurposed, you mean that this material or some, well, strike that. So these pain cards are being repurposed in the context of the continuing education program, correct?
Repurposed to the extent of that we are not changing any of the content of this material. Meaning that that first piece, the Oxford American pocket cards, that is not our material, but we would put our complements of Mallinckrodt on there.
And same with the pain management pocket card set?
That would be my understanding of that piece as well.
And
but
these, I'm sorry.
But again, I'm not familiar with that piece or the piece before that, but there's a lot of content on here, so I've never seen that piece.
And based on the email, though, these would have been used, both of these pieces would have been used in the context of the continuing education programs.
Caesar, that would be my understanding.
Sure. So I believe we're up to Exhibit 4.
Thank you.
So, sir, I've handed you Exhibit 4. It's an email with an attachment, and the email starts with Bates number MNK T1-178-6889. And the attachment starts with MNK T1-1786865.
Okay.
So this email is actually two email chains combined. First email chain is from 2008, and then the second email chain is from 2010. I'd like to focus on the email chain from 2010. The subject is the ASPE endorsed Pain Pocket Guide and Exalgo Opportunity. Do you know what ASPE is?
It's the American Society of Pain Educators.
Okay. And they reference their Pain Pocket Guide, which is attached to this email at Bates number MNK-T1 1786865. Do you know how this pocket guide was distributed?
This, from what I'm gleaning from the email, it appears that it would be distributed by our sales force.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that this pocket guide would not have been distributed into Ohio?
No.
And the email at the bottom of MNK-T1 1786889, the bottom of that page, references an order for 25,000 pocket guides. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that Mallinckrodt did not actually end up purchasing 25,000 pocket guides?
I do not.
Okay. Now, focusing on the pocket guide, is this pocket guide designed for use with generic opioid products, branded opioid products, or is it just opioid products in general?
Objection.
The piece itself speaks to the class of opioids. The use of the piece would have been through our sales aides, or excuse me, our sales reps.
And when you say speaks to the class of opioids, you're referring to a class of opioids that would include both Mallinckrodt branded and generic products.
Objection.
Is that fair?
It would include all opioids. Yes, sir.
I'd like to mark this as Exhibit 5. So, Mr. Webb, I'm handing you Exhibit 5. It starts with Bates number MNK-T1 2248914. It has an attachment, which is MNK-T1 2248919. This is essentially just the 2008.
I haven't seen the piece yet, so if you can just hold on.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is essentially this is the 2008 portion of the longer email chain that you just reviewed in Exhibit 4.
Okay.
And its attachment appears to be the 2008 Pain Pocket Guide put out by the ASPE.
Objection.
Okay, I'm sorry, was there a question behind that?
Yes. Do you know how this strike that. How was this Pain Pocket Guide distributed by Mallinckrodt?
This would have been distributed through our sales force as well.
And do you have any reason to believe that this wouldn't have been distributed in Ohio?
No, I do not.
And what steps did Mallinckrodt take to ensure that the information in this Pain Pocket Guide was accurate?
Any material that would go through our sales force is filed with the FDA for approval for use. and that would have gone through our same medical legal compliance review board.
So I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 6. Bears the Bates number MNKT1 243238.
Okay.
So this document appears to be an advertisement. The cover page is depicts a picture of a wrestler, and it says, "Why wrestle with chronic pain?" Is this an example of an opioid product ad?
This piece in particular you're showing,
Yes.
asking me about, now this is what we would consider our master sales aid.
I'm sorry, what master sales
Master
aid?
sales aid. That is a piece used by the sales force.
And so this would have been provided to healthcare professionals, would it not?
Correct.
And this would have been provided to, among others, healthcare professionals in Ohio, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Put that aside. I think this is now Exhibit 7.
Thank you.
So I've handed you what's marked as Exhibit 7. Its Bates number is MNKT1 93384. And it is, oh.
Okay.
Okay. So is this an example of well, strike that. So this document is captioned, "What will your patients be doing when time runs out on their chronic pain medicine?" It includes a picture of tennis shoes and what appears to be a leash. I take it, is this another example of a master sales aid?
This would be an example of what we would constitute a sales aid.
Okay. And was this sales aid distributed by your sales force to healthcare professionals?
Yes.
And it would have included healthcare professionals in Ohio, would it not?
Correct.
It's going to be Exhibit 8.
Thank you.
I've handed you a document, Bates numbered MNKT1 93355.
Okay.
And is this another example of a sales aid?
Master sales aid.
Master sales
Yeah.
aid. What's the difference between a master sales aid and a sales aid?
The master sales aid is the primary document that would a sales rep would use in the field. A sales aid then would be any shorter, smaller pieces, truncated.
Okay.
Similar messaging, though.
And so this master sales aid would have been distributed by your sales force, including to healthcare professionals in Ohio, correct?
Correct.
This is Exhibit 9. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I've handed you a document, Bates numbered MNKT1 93326. And the document is entitled Exalgo, a Clinical Overview.
Okay.
Is this another sales aid?
This would be a sales aid, correct.
Okay. And so it would have been distributed by your sales force to healthcare professionals in Ohio. Is that fair?
Correct.
Put that aside. This would be Exhibit 10.
Thank you.
So I've handed you a document, Bates numbered MNKT1 89968. And the cover of the document is captioned, "Now may be the time for a switch," and it indicates someone pulling their face off with a face underneath it.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Is this another example of a sales aid?
Correct.
And so this would have been distributed by your sales force to healthcare professionals in Ohio.
Correct.
And so these materials were not distributed directly to patients?
No, they were not.
Would this sales aid have been included or placed in a medical journal?
I cannot speak to this piece particularly. If it was placed in a journal, I would have to see the journals. I know we did journal ads, but I don't recall if this particular piece was a journal ad itself.
But a piece similar to this could, well, strike that. Would the journal ads have been similar to the sales ads that we have been reviewing for the past few minutes?
Objection.
No.
In what way would they have been different?
The material that we were reviewing as far as the sales material contain greater clinical content. A journal ad is generally for name placement and brand awareness. They may give some piece of information regarding it, but it wouldn't be to the level of the detail that you'd see in a sales aid or a master sales aid.
Okay. And its purpose would have been to raise awareness among healthcare professionals regarding Mallinckrodt's branded products?
Objection.
Correct.
Would it have Would you also have had journal aids designed to raise awareness among healthcare professionals of Mallinckrodt's generic products?
Objection.
I'm not aware of any journal ads for generic opioids, but if they were placed, they would be placed in articles, or excuse me, publications targeting their customers, which would have been wholesalers and distributors, not to healthcare providers.
And did Mallinckrodt ever run journal ads raising awareness for its opioid products generally? So essentially unbranded advertising?
No.
So I believe this is Exhibit 11 now. So I've handed you a document that's base numbered MNKT195581, and it's titled Whole Story Sales Aid Leave Behind Implementation Guide.
Okay.
What is this document?
This document is used as a sales training document.
And when you say sales training document, what do you mean by that?
The piece that is entitled, that this piece is referencing the, once you get the whole story, that would have been the detail aid or the sales aid. And it's designed as a leave behind, meaning it's intended and designed to be left with the physician or the healthcare provider. Implementation guide is training, would be used by our sales department on educating the sales force on appropriate messaging and fair balance.
So we're looking, this document is the implementation guide. So it's essentially training the sales force based on the leave behind. Is that fair?
Correct.
And what was it training the sales force to do?
Objection.
It was training the sales force on the appropriate use of how to position this piece through the important safety information and the clinical content therein.
And so all of Mallinckrodt sales reps, including its Ohio sales reps, would have received this training?
They should have received all the training, yes.
Okay. And so would it be fair to characterize this in some ways as a script for the sales force so that they could understand how to position this piece?
I would not characterize it as a script. I would characterize it as a piece to draw reference to that when they were speaking to an element of the content that they were trained on what should be said. How to position this with physicians so that they stay on label.
And in terms of positioning, is that another way of saying, well, strike that. What do you mean by positioning?
Present.
So it would have been important for the sales force to stay on message, correct?
On label.
Okay. And when you say stay on label, what do you mean by that?
The FDA approved label within our package insert, what we can say about the product.
So, well, strike that. So does this implementation guide provide guidance to the sales force as to what they can say and what they are not supposed to say?
Objection.
This would be, well, I want to clarify your question when you say what not to say. I mean, we're teaching the sales force on what they can say, what they should be saying.
And so presumably they should not be ad-libbing or saying things that are not in this implementation guide. Is that correct?
Objection.
That is correct.
Okay, so I believe this is going to hand you Exhibit 12 now.
Thank you.
So Exhibit 12 is a PowerPoint. It's Bates numbered MNK T1 180030.
Okay.
So what is a promotional communications tactical plan?
Am I going to answer?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Would you repeat that, please?
Sure. What is a promotional communications tactical plan? That's the title of this document.
Objection, but you can answer.
This will be a document, it's an internal document, generally put together by the product director or the product manager to walk the organization through the launch plan once the product is approved, from approval to first detailing the product.
And you see the slide on pages 2 and 3 that are titled Positioning and Positioning Statement?
I do.
What is that?
The positioning statement is the mindset of what we would want the physician, or how we would want the product to be viewed in the marketplace by the healthcare provider.
And so is this the sales message to the healthcare professionals?
No, it is not a sales message.
So when you say that this is a mindset of what you would want the physician, well, I'm sorry, strike that. I believe you indicated that the positioning statement is the mindset of what we would want the physician, or how we would want the product to be viewed in the marketplace. And so how would you go about achieving that?
That then would be achieved through our sales material, or sales aid.
And so your sales material were designed to convince or persuade the healthcare professionals. We'll strike that. So the goal of your sales and marketing was to persuade the healthcare professionals of your positioning statement. Is that correct?
Objection.
It would be the mindset of what we would want the product to connotate to a physician, to a healthcare provider.
And the way you would achieve that goal in terms of the appropriate mindset for the healthcare professional is through your sales and marketing efforts. That's my question.
Correct.
Okay.
Almost 10:30. I'm going for a bit. Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, why don't we take a break then?
Okay.
We're going off the record at 10:27 a.m.